What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. The Bills took a business trip to Orchard Park this weekend at their own home field, took care of business, and clinched a playoff spot. We couldn't ask for anything else, no matter how ugly it was. But before we talk about the game, you guys know the drill around here. Mott's applesauce, if you're ever hungry, thirsty, whatever it might be, Mott's applesauce will satisfy whatever satisfy you need to satisfy you with a Caveman guarantee. I promise it will never fail you. And this is no ordinary day for the Caveman and Mott's applesauce, and let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. I got this shirt right here. It says Mott's applesauce. It's got the Caveman guarantee on it. There's no better shirt than what I received this past Christmas from my brother's girlfriend, Abby. She's amazing. She's such a wonderful person. She's so creative. She's so caring. She gave me this shirt. It couldn't have been more perfect. So I was left speechless. So thank you to her. She's awesome. I don't know what's to come of it. I don't know if Mott's will finally recognize me, but I don't care. It's an amazing shirt, and thank you, Abby, very much. So I wanted to show this off to you guys because it was just too awesome. All right, so let's get to the task at hand. I know it's a little late in the season to be formatting these types of videos differently than I have done them before, but it is what it is. How I'm going to do these videos going forward for the last few weeks is I'm going to give one fact and then one opinion just to help me stay on track, just so these videos aren't so sporadic, just so there's more structure. It'll make more sense once I get into it. Anyway, the Buffalo Bills in Week 17 take care of business at home, taking down the Atlanta Falcons 29-15. It certainly was not the most pretty performance that we've had all year, but at the end of the day, we did what we needed to do. All right, so fact number one, the first fact of the game that I have in this video is that the score was very close. We were down 1 point going into halftime. So my opinion for fact number one regarding the score being very close throughout a majority of the game is that I personally never felt like we didn't have a handle on the game itself. Like, I never was nervous. I never was scared. I never had a thought in my mind telling me that, oh wow, we might actually lose this game, even though we were down going into half. I did not bat an eye for a second. I knew that our defense was taking care of business. Our run game was moving the ball. I just knew that once we really made the adjustments going to the second half, that we really wouldn't have any other issues, and that's exactly what happened. So even though the score was close and it portrayed a closer, tighter matchup, I really never felt like there was any worry to be had. Fact number two, Stevenson fumbled on a punt return in yesterday's game. Opinion on fact number two is that Stevenson did indeed have a very brutal day as a return man. Not only did he have that fumble, he just didn't look confident. I know it was cold, shit was slippery, it wasn't easy to be a return man, but I'm not here to make excuses for anyone. Obviously, he had that fumble, which cost us 2 points and an entire offensive possession, but like I said, he didn't even look confident. Not a single time did he catch that ball and just go. He looked like he was second-guessing himself. His vision was brutal. He was running into the backs of his own return men. It just was probably his worst day returning ever since he took over for Isaiah McKenzie. It was not a good showing. I did see a lot of people calling for McKenzie to get the job back after Stevenson's performance yesterday, but I'm not sure if I'm exactly at that point. To my knowledge, Stevenson has one muff and one fumble, both of which were recovered. But otherwise, I mean, I think he's been pretty secure. I mean, I wouldn't say he's been that much more secure than McKenzie, but I think he's done a decent enough job to the point where we don't have to completely revoke the position from him permanently. Truthfully, I'm not too sure where I'm at with the whole thing. Does McKenzie deserve it? Does Stevenson deserve it? I'm not too sure. All I know is that Andre Roberts returned to kick 101 yards for the Los Angeles Chargers, and it's making me feel like I want him back over both of them, but that's beside the point. Let me know what you think of the situation down in the comments. Fact number three. Josh Allen had one of his worst passing performances, not only of the season, but of his entire career. It was ugly. My opinion on fact number three. There is no way around this. This was a brutal showing for Josh through the air. 11 for 26, 120 yards, 3 interceptions, a QBR of 61, and a rating of 17. I think if I really wanted to, I could dissect each interception that Josh Allen threw yesterday and tell you why it wasn't necessarily his fault. But either way, 3 picks are 3 picks. It is what it is. I thought his decision-making yesterday was rather questionable as well. He was also putting way too much mustard on a lot of throws yesterday. He had Stephon Diggs on a slant route on the goal line, and he gunned it. And of course, nobody in those conditions, just catching it with your hands, is going to catch that ball. I mean, it was an absolute bullet from like 2.5 yards away. I mean, Diggs is not catching that ball, man. Nobody is. This is not the first time we're sitting back and saying Josh Allen didn't play his best, at least through the air, when the weather conditions were like they were yesterday. I think it's safe to say he plays better in a warmer, enclosed environment, such as a dome. But, you know, I hate the whole dome excuse. I think Josh Allen needs to be able to adjust. He needs to be able to play in these conditions because at the end of the day, you can't always control your environment. So I'm not going to say the dome needs to be built, although I agree. It's just not an excuse, in my opinion. Either way, negativity aside, I don't want to get into the dome argument right now. Yes, I think we need it, but I think it's being used way too much as an excuse. Josh Allen still, it was not his worst performance of all time yesterday. He still got it done on the ground. He was amazing on the ground. His impact was felt. 15 carries, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that was how we moved the ball yesterday, on the ground, and Josh Allen was a big reason for that. So even though he had a bad passing performance, the impact on the ground certainly made up for it. Fact number 4, Devin Singletary had his best performance of the season, going over 100 yards, averaging nearly 5 yards per carry, and had 2 touchdowns. It was a great day for the kid. My opinion on that is that I definitely agree it was his best performance of the year. Devin himself individually was outstanding. There's no arguing that. Either way, I'm just not completely sold on the fact that our run game is improved or it's gotten better over the last couple weeks because Devin Singletary has found some recent success. I truthfully think he's only found that success because we've been playing against teams that are far less talented than us. Singletary's best days this year have come against the teams that are just not very good, right? The Houston Texans, the Miami Dolphins, the Atlanta Falcons. Those are games that Devin Singletary ran the ball, or our run game in general ran the ball very well. And it's just because we're far more talented than the other team. We just played the New England Patriots a couple weeks ago, and we handled the Patriots pretty damn well. There were no ifs, ands, buts about it. But still, our run game, I mean, Devin Singletary had 40 yards. He had minimal impact. But that being said, I unfortunately don't think we'll be able to have an impact on the ground with anybody other than Josh Allen until we revamp the offensive line against teams that are of equal talent level to us. I think our run game is going to have a minimal impact unless it's Josh running the ball. But I will say, I will give credit to the offensive line. They have been playing better as of late. Credit to them. Josh Allen, I don't think got sacked once yesterday. Fact number 5. Brian Daboll did call a relatively solid game yesterday. I gotta give it to him. I thought he did. Now that I read that back, that sounds a lot more like an opinion than an actual fact, but I don't think anybody's going to dispute it, right? I thought Brian Daboll did have a solid day play calling. Recognize that Josh Allen wasn't finding success with his arm and more so with his feet, and the ground game was going to get the job done. Adjustments were made in the second half, and things were a lot better. We stopped turning the ball over. Granted, we turned it over on like the second play of the second half, but either way, from that point forward, we really didn't have any other issues. He did call a good game. But that still doesn't mean he didn't piss me off, all right? That still doesn't mean he gets off scot-free. We once again found ourselves on the goal line. Just like last week, on the goal line. What does Brian Daboll do? Once again, from the 3-yard line, Brian Daboll decides it's dumbass hour, and we're going to throw 3 straight times. And luckily, this time around, we were bailed out by a penalty that the Falcons committed, and we got another 3 plays. And finally, on the first, or actually the second play of the fresh set of downs from the goal line, we finally ran the Josh Allen QB sweep, and it went in the end zone. It was the easiest 6 points of Josh Allen's life. But what in God's name is Brian Daboll's obsession with throwing the ball on the goal line? Why does he want to make it so complex? At least try running the ball before you throw it, please. So yeah, Brian Daboll, I don't know what your obsession is on the goal line with passing the ball, but at least he seems to have figured it out. All right, whatever. Otherwise, pretty good day. Fact number 6. Harrison Phillips, aka Horrible Harry, was 100% the defensive MVP of yesterday's game. He played like a monster. Harrison Phillips has put himself on the map this year, and not only do people in Buffalo know about him, but people in the NFL all around the league know about Harrison Phillips because of how well he's played this year. He's been easily a top 2 defensive lineman for us, at least in my personal opinion. I don't think that's debatable. Yesterday, he was just an absolute warrior. 4 total tackles, a tackle for loss, 3 quarterback hits, a sack, and a fumble recovery. He did everything you needed him to do in a football game. The guy, he deserves all the credit in the world. He's been great. My final fact number 7, is that the defense did play extremely well considering the circumstances. I've been more harsh on the defense than the next guy over the last few weeks as we've gone through quite a rough stretch, I would say. And I've been kind of giving them a little bit more blame than some of the other people in the Mafia. But this game specifically, we gave up 15 points, but that's not a lot at all. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons had 2 more offensive possessions in the first half than the Buffalo Bills, and we were only down by a point going into half. Also didn't give up a single point in the second half. I think there's no question that this was one of their more dominant performances of the season. I think we had 5 sacks. We had a few turnovers. They played extremely well. Got a ton of pressure. Granted, Matt Ryan did have that blunder where he thought he got in the end zone and then he taunted, but then they didn't end up calling it a touchdown and it got pushed back 15 yards, and that was extremely embarrassing, and then we stopped them. Yeah, we kind of caught a break a little bit, but still, they got the job done. I just hope that the next time we play a team that's our skill level, we bring that same kind of energy, the same kind of tenacity, and we're getting all that pressure with the sacks and the turnovers. I just feel like the defense really shows out. They show and flex their guns when we play against the bad teams. But when it comes to the better teams, we don't get all this pressure. We don't see the sacks. The turnovers are a lot less. I just want that energy to be brought against the better teams. Otherwise, that's about all I got on our Week 17 performance. Luckily, out of all the wacky shit that happened in Week 17 with Antonio Brown, the Bucs almost losing to the Jets, the Rams almost losing to the practice squad Ravens, we were not a part of any of that wackiness, thankfully. That's all a conversation for another day. Next week, we have to stay on track, right? We're playing the New York Jets. We need to take this game so we can hold on to the top spot in the division. But it's going to be no cakewalk. Got to stay on track, stay focused, and get the job done so we can head into the postseason on a high note. Otherwise, that's about all I got. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of this new video structure as well. I think it helped me stay kind of on track so I wasn't as sporadic. It helped my thoughts stay in line. Let me know what you thought. If you enjoyed the video, as always, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. You want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there, I'd appreciate that as well. I have a TikTok down in the description that you should check out, and I will see you in the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a playoff team. See you later.